Today we're going to Greece with HARPER'S BAZAAR France, honoring an icon with Vogue Philippines, and exploring surrealism with NUMÉRO magazine. My name is Marco, welcome to the Model Gene, and if you're ready to dissect this month's covers, hit that like button, and let's get started on June's Battle of the Covers. Starting off with Vogue US, we have Justin Bieber's wife with the title of See Me for Me, which clearly they have to be rage baiting. In Justin's Instagram post, he confesses that he told his beloved wife that she would never be on the cover of Vogue. So if even her husband can see that she shouldn't be on this cover, why is she? I imagine her fans would say road beauty is the reason, but unfortunately, nothing gets you more access than a famous man. Focusing on the execution of the image itself, the narrative is falling short. If I were to look at just the subject, how she is lit and what she is wearing, she would fit in on a beach in the Hamptons where she got caught in a flash storm, but why is she in a shower in an oversized shirt? I like the colors, her skin looks nice, but the lack of eye contact with this forced smile is not drawing me into the image. This Vogue cover feels more like a still shot from a Neutrogena face wash commercial. Bella Hadid covers British Vogue, and I have a feeling that Marissa Berenson was all over the mood board. Although Meisel is usually referencing Richard Avedon, here he seems to be infusing some of Irving Penn, in particular this shot from Vogue's April 1970 issue. Marissa Berenson, the granddaughter of Elsa Schiaparelli, was the first nude photo ever to be published in Vogue, and Elsa was furious with editor-in-chief Diana Vreeland as a result of that image. From the editorial, this is my favorite image. The styling here works so well with the lighting, really masterful work. But I don't love the flatness on the top of her hair. I would blow that hair up like in the other images and use this as a cover instead, but let me know in the comments which you prefer. Giselle and Iman Hammam cover Vogue France. Iman's cover and editorial are much stronger. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I think Giselle either just got lip filler that hadn't settled properly or was suffering from a cold sore because her mouth is being covered in all except one of the photos. When I zoom in there, also the one shot that is farthest away from camera, something suspicious is going on with the retouching around the mouth. Lipgate aside, I love these photos of Iman. The tonal range is really nice, and that is what keeps the photos looking like they fit in a fashion magazine and not Sports Illustrated. Nicki Minaj covers Vogue Italia, and I have mixed feelings about this and the rest of the images from Petra Collins. If you haven't already seen my video about her, photographer Petra Collins is one of those world-building photographers. So much of her gift is about storytelling, especially around the honest depiction of young women. What I lack in these photos is the very things I love about Collins as a photographer. I don't see the story, and this doesn't feel authentic to Nicki. The black sculpted bang pieces in most of the images are saying something different than the blonde hair with a clip. This is saying ingenue, this is saying madam. On the cover, the lens flare also irks me, but I hope to see more of Petra Collins shooting for high fashion magazines. Vogue Portugal has 5 covers for June, but this one of Angelina Usanova by Victoria and Saida is a standout. These orange zip ties look like strings of volcanic magma against the dark rocks. Her face is emoting. This is a fantastic cover for Vogue Portugal. It is my favorite cover of the month. This color palette is also one that is not often seen, especially not for a summer issue, so they get bonus points for standing out. The other cover is okay. I don't love the tilted horizon, but I enjoy this hazy, mysterious mood. It is difficult for me to rank the 3 remaining covers. I think they are all really successful and telling different stories. Saida Sampaio's portrait is the best cover Élio Nogueira has shot in a long time. There are often too many competing elements in his work, but here the texture is contained to the green and blue, so it doesn't distract the model's face. The fringe of this dress on Padla is wonderful. It looks like a whale's baleen. She is a siren on the rock. I love the strong shadows and the calmness exuding from her. Finally, this cover of Marcelino Sambe is dramatic. The billowing fabric is what makes this photo so successful, but my only criticism is that there's nothing unexpected here. Good job to Vogue Portugal on having 5 successful covers this month. Footballer Victor Gyökeres covers Vogue Scandinavia, and the praise I gave Élio Nogueira for his Vogue Portugal cover of Saida Sampaio will not be found here. This is another disastrous cover for Vogue Scandinavia, and one of the worst covers of the month. I see a test shoot for an aspiring model who moves to LA and ends up doing adult film work, not a Vogue cover of one of the best Swedish footballers at the moment. I have had to repeat the same criticism over and over again because of how overused the trope is of putting a male subject, clothed, in a bathtub or pool. This really needs to stop. His clothes are wet, his face is dry, every hair perfectly in place with an expression that says, "Are we starting already?" He actually did get his head wet in the editorial with this horrible result, but this squatting picture is even worse. But from all of the unforgivable photos, this one is actually the best. The interlaced fingers is his signature celebration pose. I can see in his eyes that this is the first time in a shoot that he feels himself and comfortable. Even just from a purely graphic standpoint, this makes for a more interesting image than all of the rest, but more importantly, I need to believe an image in order for it to work. They took a man who looks like this and removed all of his power rather than building a shoot around his identity. When a male subject is backlit like this, the shadows and contours that define a masculine face are erased. I'm not a photographer, but I did do a test shoot with one of my models a few weeks ago. Sound off in the comments which of these shoots would have better suited Victor. The one where he looks like he is dressed for family vacation photos, or these on a field where he has built his career and shaped his identity. Anna Bailey covers Vogue Philippines, a highly anticipated return from the world's first Asian supermodel. Anna made her runway debut for Thierry Mugler in 1979, and it didn't take long before she was one of the most in-demand models of the 80s. Before Christy, Naomi, and Linda, Anna Bailey and Iman were the women dominating the runway. She worked with everyone from Yves Saint Laurent, Azie Denalaya, Valentino, Chanel, Givenchy, Christian Dior, just to name a few. For this cover of Vogue Philippines, I just wish we had strong, direct eye contact. It would have made the image less passive, but this crazy silhouette makes for a very interesting cover. This dress is also fantastic. The undulating pleated fabric photographs extremely well. Personally, if I was creative directing this shoot with Anna Bailey, I would use an entire village's worth of hair to make that the connecting thread across the images, because Anna was so well known for her jet black mane, and shoot her in the same way that Avedon did with some of my favorite shots of Twiggy. I think it's great that Vogue Philippines spotlighted Anna Bailey, not only because of her historical importance in the modeling industry, but also to highlight the lack of Asian models that aren't super fair-skinned. Take a look at the casting of any runway show in the major fashion cities. You'll find Chinese and Korean models, but extremely rarely are there any Asian models with naturally tanned skin. Colorism isn't only a problem that black models face, it is just as big of a problem with Asian models. Juergen Teller photographed the 9 covers of Harper's Bazaar Italia, and the backgrounds and styling are interesting enough to almost distract from how uninspiring the images are. The models are just standing there with blank stares. Hard to say which is the worst or the best, since they are all at the same level. Rebecca Longendijk and Lennon Sorrenti cover Harper's Bazaar France. I love the storytelling here. Of the 3 covers, this one is my favorite. It is enticing you to see the rest of the story without giving everything away. We are featuring the landscape without allowing it to dominate. The true success in this shoot is the editorial that highlights the natural beauty of the models. It is fashionable but unpretentious. This is my favorite image from the story. Lennon reminds me of all of the beautiful women I would see in Paris. No lip filler, not drowning in makeup or fake eyelashes in order to leave the house, just honest and fresh. This shot as well, gorgeous. Lennon really stands out in these lovely photos by Purienne. Elsa Pataki covers Harper's Bazaar ESPAñA. I think they did a disservice by shooting this in studio, when the theme better lends itself to a location shoot. The water droplets they added to the background here are an embarrassment. It is otherwise a nice cover image, although they did a poor job masking her hair with the logo. If these magazines do not have access to a Wacom tablet, please reach out. I'm more than happy to help by using the pen to do this correctly. These 3 covers should have been shot on a waterfront, at least a nice pool, because the crumpled construction paper is not cutting it. Elsa looks beautiful and strong, but for the aqua issue, some aqua would be nice. Lindsay Lohan covers LUS, an interesting choice to have her in a fur coat for a summer issue, but I like the cover, she looks gorgeous. My biggest issue with the cover is how none of her neck is visible. This slight adjustment makes a big impact in opening up her face. I also picked up on a masking error they made with her hair in the cover in this section here. This sloppy work doesn't reflect well on photographer Chris Colls or the team at ELLE. I'm not sure why no one caught this. Tilda Swinton covers ELLE Brazil. I love these covers by Mar Vin. My favorite is in this mint fuzzy Chanel look. She has an icy power that is piercing through. The texture is of course making the photo interesting. Her angles of her body and the hat are perfect. I just wish we were able to see a little bit more of the texture in her clothing, but even in black and white, this looks good. For the last cover where she is turning away, the lighting and the composition lend itself to black and white photography. I actually prefer this to the yellow background, but sound off in the comments what you think. Ayo Edebiri covers WSJ magazine, another excellent cover by Ethan James Green. Her skin looks delicious and the pose is great, particularly what she is doing with her arms and hands. Especially considering this is for the Wall Street Journal magazine, they are striking the perfect balance of fashion without going too far. It is a conservative financial magazine after all. Kate Moss's daughter covers Vogue Australia. What a joke. Editor-in-chief Christine Centenera is one of the biggest pick-me girls in fashion. It is like every step she makes is predicated by how can this personally get her access to more famous people. Australia deserves better. This is my least favorite cover of the month. Kaya Gerber covers Vogue España, another wooden performance from the Nepo model. Side note, go watch Overcompensating. It's a new comedy that she has a small role in, and besides her casting and performance, the show is fantastic. The real star of this shoot is the Togo sofa. So much more depth and personality is coming from the leather than the model. This is my favorite photo from the story. Not a great month for Vogue España. Abby Champion covers Vogue Turkey, and my eye is immediately drawn to the tension in her neck. The shadows simply look strange in this region. A shame because she is a beautiful model, and the styling works very well. It is not a terrible cover. I prefer this picture from the editorial, but I think they didn't use it because the top of her dress slid over and looks a bit funny. NUMÉRO Switzerland's covers for their surreal issue had some standouts. My favorite beauty image is this one of Cici Gao. You can tell the team really had a precise vision here by the use of these colored eyelashes. This brick red lip is perfect against the pale blue of her skin. My favorite covers are of Daphne Groeneveld. This black and white cover is rather naughty, but I most like how well the texture of all the fabric looks against their skin. I just wish we could see her right arm in this image, but it is otherwise very interesting to look at and keeps your eye traveling. For NUMÉRO Homme Switzerland, Sacha Bilal has the best cover, but the image would have been stronger if his neck was exposed rather than having this coat with the collar up. The stylist compromised this image because the ear jewelry and the jacket are not telling the same story, especially when the photo is trying to highlight the strength of his bone structure. This cover of Hugo Marchand is sad. The untied combat boots are so distracting and nonsensical. You put a dancer on the cover and there is no movement or energy. Shauna Price's cover features the movement they should have had in Hugo Marchand's cover, but my issue here is the lighting on his face that brings attention to the shadow at the top of the bridge of his nose, and they retouched out all of his forehead wrinkles. The silhouette is nice, but the execution is lacking. Cyril Metzger's cover is juvenile but cute. I just wish they would have gone for a more playful watch to keep this boyish narrative. A brightly colored swatch or something would have fit better. The worst of these covers is of Ricky Martin, clothed, dry in a bathtub. To fix this image, they should get rid of the clothes on Ricky and the photographer, fill the tub with water and bubbles, and have his head back with his arms on the side of the tub. Georgia Palmer covers GQ Germany, and this cover is a brilliant way to reference the 1984 shoot of Fred with Tires by HARPER'S. This photo was also featured in a BBC documentary called 7 Photos That Changed Fashion, where Rankin recreates works by Avedon, Helmut Newton, and more, casting supermodel David Gandhi to replace Fred Harding. What I love most about this cover with Georgia is that it takes an iconic image but flips it in gender and pose. She looks powerful, fashionable. I absolutely love this cover from GQ Germany. The other cover can't really compare. She still looks amazing, and I appreciate them showing the duality of her gender expression, but the Ritz inspired photo was the only one they needed. Marlon Teixeira covers L'Officiel Monaco. The styling in this shoot by Alba Susilo is horrific. Photographer Sasha Olsen is usually shooting male nudes for Yummy magazine. I'm guessing Marlon's management wouldn't allow that, so they managed to scrape together this while he was in Bali on holiday. But wow, it is wild when a magazine under the L'Officiel name is allowing this in there. The cover reads more as a fit check before leaving for dinner than a fashion cover. This is the nicest of the images, but not nice enough to make me forget this shot. Sasha has taken some really beautiful portraits. These are actually really nice, but it goes to show how easily an overeager stylist can ruin a shoot. And that is where today's review is going to end. But for more about the fashion industry, check out the links below. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the covers this month, and be sure to subscribe to find out who comes out on top next month in the Battle of the Covers.